After 44 years, I'm finally here in my fatherland, Latvia. My grandparents fled this country during the Second World War, and a long journey led them to settle in Indianapolis and Chicago. Even though I grew up in a Latvian community, Latvian was my first language. I went to Latvian school on Saturdays, and for 6 weeks every summer. I've never been here before. This place has only existed in my head for the last 44 years, and it feels great to put a face to the name. We're in the capital city, Riga, and I've met up with one of my childhood friends, another Janis, who came here to visit 20 years ago and never left.
Janis! Good to see you.
Janis and I participated in Latvian Boy Scouts, summer camps, and later, Latvian summer high school together. Despite having its own distinct language, culture, and traditions, Latvia has only been an independent country since 1918. But after its initial independence, the wars of Europe saw it occupied by Russia, Germany, Sweden, and Polish-Lithuania. It's hard to fight countries 10 times your size. Latvia has less than 2 million residents and is roughly the size of West Virginia. Latvia has been free since 1991 when the USSR fell. To say Latvia has been through hard times in the last century is an understatement. But the people here are resilient and are working hard to make this a wonderful place to live. Seeing the Freedom Memorial, Latvia's version of the Statue of Liberty, for the first time is breathtaking. On it reads, "For the fatherland and freedom." It's hard for me to contain my emotions thinking of all the people that fled this country, like my ancestors, never to see their home again. Experiencing the city was good, but you know me, I'm married to the woods. I'm here to see what the hunting is all about. Latvia's game includes moose, red deer, roe deer, wild pigs, and other smaller critters like beaver and raccoon dogs. You heard me, raccoon dogs. Linda Dombrovska, the editor of Latvia's only hunting magazine, is my guide on this journey. She has graciously arranged the hunting and other activities for me. Apparently, I'm going to get my feet under me by shooting some sporting plays? I was a little bit skeptical that you were going to take me to shoot clays before we were going to hunt big game with rifles.
Yes.
But then you were explain to me why you think that it does translate over.
Yeah, because if you become an average shooter of clays, well, you train a bit, you shoot a bit, maybe you go into competition once in a while just for fun.
Yeah.
Then you can do any other shooting discipline and you will be above the average. So it doesn't matter if you see a clay or you see a running wild boar, you can react to the target. And if you know and you train here, you see a running wild boar, your just brain click and you do it instinctively, you can shoot it with a rifle.
It seems like a lot of young or beginner hunters have a hard time acquiring the target. And I feel like this forces you to learn how to acquire the target, how to see the target, right?
It's, as my trainer, Namas always says, it's the same as catching the ball.
Turi to stobru, tad papaņem pie tos priekšējās apakšas. Notūr, ielaid klāpu, tikai jūt, ka viņš jau tam jātiek un iestāt. Mājas mazliet pa kreisi.
Traditions and superstitions are equally interesting to me. Linda's friend from Austria, David, tells me about one that might be a little bit of both.
I give you 50 cents.
50 cents?
Yes, 50 euro cents. That's because I give you now a Swiss knife.
Okay.
And then you have to buy it, otherwise it will cut our relation. Just buy this knife from me
For 50
So,
cents.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
pretty good deal.
Yeah, I think also. And you have a knife now and you can hunt in Latvia. Perfect.
Now, Linda was just explaining to me that that's a superstition, not just in Latvia, but in Europe in general, that you can't gift a knife because it'll cut the relationship.
Yeah, that's a superstitious. Yeah, that's a superstitious thing. Yeah, and it's very important.
So if a dad wants to give his daughter
exactly
her first hunting knife, she has to buy it from him?
you just give one piece of money, just 1 cent or whatever. You just,
I hate to tell you guys, but literally days before I came on this trip, I gave my daughter, she's been asking for a knife. And I said, I just threw one at her. It came in a packaging with some other
So
other
just-
gear.
It's easy. Don't go home and say, just give me,
Or-
give me a cent
Yeah.
or something like
or send her an invoice.
that.
Now,
Yeah,
is
that
there
would be better.
is there specifically anything like that will happen or go wrong when you cut the relationship, or that's just that you're just gonna have
You
a
just start to argue. You're not friends. You just can break up the relationship. Or it can happen.
Yeah, I don't need that with my daughter. No. Well, thank you, David. I appreciate it.
No problem.
After a bit of shooting, I'm starting to feel right at home. Knowing the local language doesn't hurt either. It's interesting. In the US, when I speak Latvian, I usually know the person I'm speaking to personally. Here, it's quite odd to me to hear strangers speaking it. In the US, I'm unique. Here, just part of the crowd. Well, kind of. They say I speak my Latvian with a heavy accent. Linda's friend Kaspars is the manager of a hunting club that has allowed me to join temporarily so that I can hunt. Kaspars greets us with moose burgers. In Latvia, a cheeseburger is called a cheeseburger. Kaspar, izstāst man vispirms, tā kā, ko tu dari? Un īsās man, ka šis nav tavs darbs, kā tu mums palīdzēsi tagad, bet ko tu dari tagad ikdienā, bet tad kas ir tava daļa šajā medības klubā?
Nodarbojās ar visādiem brīnumiem un celtniecību, kas respektīvi remontēt vecas mājas, jaunas mājas, respektīvi šito vienu mājas daļu esmu cēlis arī es. Esmu piedalījies celtniecībā. Tas tā īsumā, ko es daru pa darbiem, lai nopelnītu naudu. Jā. Bet klubā es esmu nevis kluba vadītājs, bet medību vadītājs arī, jā, un mednieks.
Okay.
Un, respektīvi, es varu organizēt medības un cilvēkus komandēt attiecīgajās medībās un izvietot viņus un pateikt, kas viņiem jādara un kas nav jādara.
Basically, the fact is that the hunting club is like a small NGO. It's not it can be a company or like an LTD. So they have all the statutes and they have a board and a board leader or whatever, or a president, and that's quite a democracy. So the main decision maker is the whole hunting club when they come together for a meeting. But the board can take different decisions concerning how you divide hunters in hunting groups who can manage certain areas of the hunting club, because for them it's like 10,000. It's a huge amount of territories.
Latvijā katrā klubā notiek atsevišķi kaut kādas, tās atrunas, ja. Katram klubam ir savs. Nav tā, ka viens mērogs viss vienam ir, ja.
Jā.
Mums, pieņemsim tā, ja tu atnāc uz Latviju dzīvot, pieņemsim te uz Drustiem, nopērc zemes gabalu, pieņemsim tur 10 hektāri, ja, tur kaut kāds meža gabaliņš, vēl kaut kas, ja. Un tad tu sāki, respektīvi, es gribētu pie jums iestāties klubā, vai ir iespēja? Mēs sakam, jā, bet mums ir, pieņemsim, cilvēku limits. 45 gabala, ja ir klubā, tu vari uzrakstīt iesniegumu, bet tev jāgaida, kamēr kāds mednieks aizies tai saulē, jā.
Lielākoties.
Jā. Un,
Jo parasti cilvēki vienkārši
uzreiz tu
nedod to iespēju būt.
Nē. Un, un tā, kad tava kārta būs pienākusi, tu vari jau ātrāk sākt, protams, jā. Tu nāc pie mums pa dzinēju. Tev jānodzina 3 gadi. 3 gadi tu nodzini, un tad tu vari kļūt pilntiesīgs mūsu kolektīvas biedrs.
The airline lost my bags and my rifle didn't make it through customs on time. So Here I am wearing Linda's dad's clothes, a few random First Light pieces I brought as gifts, and shooting Kaspars's rifle. It's an old Mauser action with a set trigger. I spend a few minutes familiarizing myself with it.
Uzliek šitā, ja? Nospiežot šito, ja? Ir uzreiz, ja? Bet, ja tev respektīvi šitā uzvilkt, tad tev ir brīvais un tad ir, nu, pamēģini pats.
Jā.
Man tad sapratīs apmēram to izspiedienu. Bet paņem patēmē, ka tagad bīdīs bez patrons, pabīd bišķiņ.
As a guest of the hunting club Drusti, I will be accompanied by Kaspars. Our main target is a red deer stag. The red deer are in their rut right now, so we'll be hearing their roars, and Kaspars will be roaring to call them in. We'll be doing a mix of calling, spot and stalk, and stand hunting. Whatever it takes, I'm just along for the ride.
This is the, it's not a wallow, but it's just a spot where the red stag has been rutting and working the zone with his antlers and just torn it all up. Yeah. So when you're hearing the light chuckle, just like a bull elk, it means that he's basically working his harem and chasing cows around. And just like when a bull elk does that clunking sound, these red stags are making that a similar sound. So we're gonna bail on this spot and loop around and then get the wind right and start moving towards the one that sounds like he's pretty fired up. It's an amazing sound. I hope you can hear it, but to me it is more intimidating right now than a bull elk, because that thing sounds mean. There's like a lot of different levels, types of animals at different age classes, different antler configurations that they may or may not want to shoot. Some of it depends on if the animal is of breeding age, and he's got like basically instead of just having a Y up top, if he's got like 3 or more points up top and it's a breeding age bull, they want to keep that one alive to keep those genes in this population. If it's only got a split up top, like a 5-point bull elk, that's a bull they want to shoot and take him out of the gene pool. So if they're both like the same age class, it could be like an 8 or 9-year-old bull, but they would like me to like shoot one that only has a Y, not one that's all crowned out, because the crowned out one, they want to let it grow until it reaches 13 or 14, 15 years old and becomes like an absolute giant.
What a cool experience. Unfortunately, the stag was too young to shoot. We're off to find another. The next morning, we're greeted with a dense fog. But Kaspar says this will keep the stags feeding later into the morning.
Yeah. Is judging the animal by its body size and antler size, and he thinks he's roughly 8 years old. He's got 14 points, but unfortunately it's the kind of bull that they want to let grow, because in like 2 more years he'll be really mature and show his full potential in his antlers.
The morning is played out, but Kaspars has one more spot he wants to try.
Pašai nav kļūda. Tas viss ir nofilmēts, kā tu nokļūdies šādi. Jā, būs labi. Well, es nočukrēju. And that means that I muffed it. Kaspars is not happy with me right now. Little bit. because they sell this meat. Often, it's not good to shoot it in the shoulder. And that bull was quartering to me pretty hard, and we were waiting for more of a broadside shot. He told me I could take out one shoulder, but not to take out both. And literally, as I turned around to make a remark to him about how the bull was just feeding right at us, I think the wind finally just dropped into that hole. And there was a cow in there with him. She buggered. He chased her out, and I missed my opportunity. There was a few seconds where I had a shot. I didn't even see it because I was trying to talk to Kaspars. So I muffed it. I hope it wasn't my last opportunity, but Kaspars has busted my balls like it might have been. But he feels pretty good that we found like the zone where this bull's living.
Kaspars is happy to listen to me relay the story to Linda.
So I was waiting for broadside.
Sure.
And after we waited for at least 5 minutes, yeah, wind's good, everything's fine. And he's telling me, be ready, it could happen fast, be ready. And I was pretty casual, like, oh yeah, I'll have time. And I turned around to say something to Kaspars, and he's like, you just missed your opportunity.
Fakts tāds, ka es sagaidīju binoklī, kas vairs aizskrien. Bez šāviena.
Bez šāviena.
While the fog dissipates and my ego heals, we get to work. Kaspars has decided that we're going to make our own stand. Latvia is one of the most forested countries in the EU, with forestry products making up about 20% of its export revenue.
Šitāds taisa? Amerikā šitāds kaut ko taisa?
Manam tēvam tā patīk šitāds būvēt, bet viņš nebūvē no kokiem no meža. Viņš vienkārši aiziet uz Home Depot, nopērk kaudzi tubaforus un lielu kanīti ar skrūvēm un iet iekšā un uzreiz.
Kādo Jāni to koku? Nāko to?
Bet tas jau drīzāk tā kā privātajā zemē, nevis publiskajā zemē.
Tikai drīkst tā uz privātas zemes.
The first night in our new stand is a quiet one. We try it the next morning too, with no luck. Linda takes me out to lunch to take my mind off of my muffed opportunity at the stag.
I'm the hunter in the third generation. My grandfather was a hunter, my father was a hunter, and I'm a hunter. I have no siblings, so my father decided that his only daughter will be a hunter. So my dad was always taking me and my mom with him, and when I turned 18, it was absolutely normal that I would become a hunter. And so it just started. I've been doing it since, I don't know, since I remember myself.
Turns out, a friend of Linda's told her about MeatEater, and that's how this all came together.
He wrote me, you have to check this program on Netflix, MeatEater. I'm like, whatever. And then I started to watch, and like, I became an addict. And suddenly I hear it's like a Latvian eagle. I'm like, what? I rewinded it. Oh, really? He said Latvian eagle. So basically that's how I understood that there are Latvian people doing hunting stuff in America, which sounded really cool. And then I wrote to the MeatEater email, and you answered me, and that's it. So we're hunting in Latvia after 3 years, basically.
It took 3 years to get here. It's a COVID delay. Everybody's they have a COVID delay story. This is ours.
When we first started planning this trip, the Russians had just invaded Ukraine, and I'd been curious to ask Linda for her perspective. Her childhood was during the latter years of the Soviet occupation of Latvia, so to her, the current situation in Ukraine is more than just another war on the news.
Has that affected like your day-to-day life here when the war started?
Psychologically, definitely. I was not in my mind like for a month. Now, mostly what I check on Twitter is the news from the front. But we have the biggest problem that we have a very angry neighbor, Russia. But now they are all fighting in Ukraine, and Ukraine, I believe, is fighting for our own independence, for democracy and security in Europe. So
fighting for everybody.
For the European Union, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, the life doesn't stop. We have to work. We have to do what we do so we can help Ukrainian people. So life goes on. That's the fact. You just have to adapt to the situation, and it doesn't mean that you have to be sad or bad all the time.
Sure, just got to deal with it, but live life still.
Now, for us, now sitting and me explaining you the situation, that's how I contribute to the situation. So bring up, like, raise the awareness of the situation. That's important.
Very, very.
Kaspars gets a call from one of the other club members to let him know he's been successful and could use a hand. I'm excited to see a stag up close.
Nu, es tai binoklī pētu, rīts apmācies, lietus līst, migla. Nu, man liekas, ka tas, kur es te vēlos nomedīt. Šito es biju redzējis jau 10 reizes un vienmēr, lai viņš dzīvo. Tas vēl jauns, vēl jātīk. Nu, tagad es pieņemu lēmumu, kas šaušu, viņš sajūt mani, uzceļas kājās un tā kā taisās iet prom, bet es esmu pieņēmis lēmumu, ka šaušu, izšauju, labs atsitiens, nu, pārliecināts, ka trāpu.
Jo, ka trāp, tad ir tāds...
Nu, tas buh.
Jā.
Zin kā, nu, bet viņš tūlīt aizskrien aiz kalna. Es neredzu virzienu. Atnāku šitien, nu, tā skatos, asiņu nepīles, nekur nav asiņu. Sāku šitien te ķemmēt visu to teritoriju. Man tas termovizieris nekur nerāda, ka gulētu. Nu, redzētu temperatūru. Izķēmē visu stundu, visu cauri slapš līdz šejienē pārģēbies, zvanu dēlam, lai brauc ar suni. Nāku un atkal sāku pētīt, nu, bet bija tas atsitiens. Un sāku, kamēr dēls brauc ar suni, ķemmēt šito, nu, rekt pat viņš tai seglēs, viņš tā kā lecienu, kā ielecis pāri, tā iekrits. Un es ar to termiķi nogāju jau pa 10 metri te iepriekš garām. Ar tai seglītes viņš nerāda. Jā, eglis priekšā. Nu, un esmu ļoti sarūtināts par to, bēdīgs par to, kad, nu, es negribēju viņu šaut. Es jau viņu te esmu redzējis nes cik reizes.
Bet kā mēs ar ģirti Jānim stāstījām un iemācījām, kas ir Diana bija lēmas nomēt.
Nu, bija lēmas.
Ir nomēt.
Tas viņa atstājās.
Vienot piestum piekabīt.
Projekts ir resurs.
1, 2, op! 1, 2, op!
Ir tā, ka vienkārši ir mums Latvijā, mēs uzskatām, ka tāda medība Diana ir. Vienkārši nevis uzskatām, bet ir pat medība Diana dieviete, jā. Un viņa pa lielam nevis tā, ka nolems vai būs, jā, bet ja būs tev lems nomedīt savu būli, jā, tad tā arī būs, tas būs tavs būls, un to tavu būli neviens cits nenomedīs. Nenomedīs nekāds Janis, Džo vai Aleksandrs vai kas vienalga, jā, bet tas būs Jāņa būls, un tas būs tavs, un viss, un tā ir. Cerēsim, ka šodien būs Diana lēmas.
Jā, cerēsim. Laižam.
land, some agriculture, some woods. Almost kind of like a 50-50 split. And I mean, it's very gamey. There's all kinds of stuff running around here. So I feel at home here. And if you've hunted in Wisconsin, you'd probably feel at home too. No, bet mēs šājam, tagad mēs novaļīsim. Jā. Bet tu pasak man, tu gribēji šājuši. Ja tu vēlies kaut ko nomet, tad iespēja tev cūk, tad brauksim citur uz Briedi, iespējams. Šauj no rokas, ja šausi. Jā. Droši vairāk. See, that's it, yeah, there's nothing less than it's okay, yeah. Maybe lemons. Watch it, Kas mūsu plāns ir, ko šaut vai ko nešaut. Es tev teicu visu, bet tu atļauties šaut, tev būs jautājumi, tu šaut.
The missed opportunity at the board turns into a stag sighting, but unfortunately, that bull is not within the age class that I'm allowed to shoot. But still, cool to see.
Nothing came out in our meadow. We've had incredible roaring tonight. You can hear them all around us. It just wasn't meant to be that my bull was going to come out in that meadow tonight. But it's been a fantastic week of ambush hunting, still hunting, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to leave you with this. That a lot of people think that you come over to Europe and it's very gentleman-like hunt. It's kind of easy. You can sleep in and just kind of stroll out and then shoot the first red stag you see. After 4 days here, I can tell you it's not so. It's hard hunting. Sure, we could have killed other bulls. I could have even killed that first one had I just shot him on the point of the shoulder. But as soon as I really had the urge to kill one, it's sort of like they've been just kind of keeping a little buffer zone around me and not showing up for us at all. Anyways, tomorrow morning starts the driven season. So we're going to have like 20 to 30 people involved here. Kaspars is going to be organizing the whole thing. And we're going to do 3 or 4 big drives. And everybody's going to have opportunities. Hopefully I'll have an opportunity again too. It's not evident to you. We are hunting at night. Wait,
Man, ASV naudiņa līdz galam pat mājā. Vēl klik.
It's complicated. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully I don't nochakare again.